We started the International Sarcoma Kindred Study back in 2008, about 15 years ago now. And of course, given the rarity of sarcomas, although it's a very large study, it has more than 3,000 participants, we're still collecting individuals of individual sarcoma types, looking for, so that we can get better and better resolution, comparable to the sorts of power that have been well developed in areas like breast cancer, where tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of patients have taken part in genome-wide association studies. We've got a long way to go simply in mapping that variation. But in terms of using that information, one of the problems that sarcomas present for early detection strategies is that they can arise anywhere. They're heterogeneous and they can arise anywhere. And that's different from breast cancer. So in breast cancer, increased breast cancer risk, one of the reasons why that area developed so quickly as a clinical specialty was the fact that we could use mammography, organ-specific surveillance techniques. Mammography, breast MRI, breast ultrasound were used to pick up cancers of the breast early in women at risk, and therefore detect them and remove them and hopefully save people's lives. And that principle about the effectiveness of mammography actually is what has enabled the detection of BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations to be translated into effective clinical management. Do we have that for sarcomas? No, not until very recently. But in the past 10 years or so, we and others around the world have used whole body MRI to detect cancers early in individuals who carry mutations in the P53 gene. In our study, the biggest single contributory gene to sarcoma risk was P53. It was the hub of all the networks that we identified that were associated with sarcoma risk. Our study of whole body MRI in that population showed that in between 1 in 7 and 1 in 14 people with a P53 mutation, so-called Lee-Fraumeni syndrome, we could pick up a silent cancer at an early stage. And that's, of course, brilliant because it means for the first time, people with multi-organ cancer risk can be offered a strategy which might enable effective early detection. In fact, that particular program has led to changed guidelines because we brought that data together into a global meta-analysis, the largest ever conducted, showing that a whole-body MRI, even at baseline, a single whole-body MRI in that population was able to detect these silent cancers at an early and curable stage. So the corollary of that, of course, is that perhaps in the future, we could broaden the use of whole body MRI to any syndrome which might be associated with sarcomas, where the risk is sufficiently high to justify the expense of screening in that population. And I think that's very important. And another strategy that we might consider is the use of blood-based early detection strategies, which I think that field is in its infancy at this point. But there's no reason to think that in the future, potentially, we might do a blood test, which might in those at risk, which might flag the development of a silent cancer, which then could, lead to investigations that might localize it and hopefully cure it.